This is Brittanee Drexel, a vibrant 17-year-old teenager from Rochester, New York, whose love for life was as infectious as her laughter, with dreams of adventure and a heart full of hopes. Brittanee set out on a spring break trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in April of 2009. But what was meant to be a carefree getaway turned into a harrowing mystery when Brittanee vanished into the night, leaving her family and friends grappling with fear and uncertainty. As we delve deeper into Brittanee's story, we're confronted with shocking questions. What led to her disappearance? Where did she go that evening along the shores of Myrtle Beach? With each passing day, the search for Brittanee intensified, yet answers remained elusive, surrounding the case in a veil of mystery. Even though time has passed, Brittanee's family holds on to hope, believing that the truth will eventually come to light. Let's delve into the case of Brittanee Drexel. But first, let's take a moment to send our thoughts and sympathies to the Drexel family and everyone affected by the heartbreaking loss. Brittanee Drexel was born on October the 7th, 1991 in Rochester, New York, where she grew up with her family. Her mother, Dawn, married Chad Drexel, who adopted Brittanee, and they lived together in a suburb of Rochester. Brittanee faced challenges early on due to a condition in her right eye called persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous, which left her visually impaired in that eye. Despite this, Brittanee remained optimistic and pursued her dreams, studying cosmetology and aspiring to become a model. In 2008, Dawn and Chad separated and Brittanee stayed with her mother. The separation and other personal struggles, including issues with her boyfriend and battles with depression, took a toll on Brittanee. She overdosed twice on pain medication, but thankfully sought help from a mental health counselor and was determined to overcome her challenges. In April of 2009, at 17 years old, Brittanee sought permission from her mother to spend spring break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with her boyfriend and friends. However, Dawn refused due to concerns about Brittanee's safety, as the trip lacked adult supervision, and Dawn had a premonition of something bad happening. Despite this, Brittanee and her friends departed for South Carolina without permission, checking into the Bar Harbor Hotel in Myrtle Beach. On the evening of April the 25th, 2009, Brittanee left the hotel to visit a friend at the Blue Water Resort about 1.4 miles away. She was seen leaving the Blue Water Resort around 8:45 p.m., carrying only a beige purse and wearing a black and white tank top, flip-flops, and shorts. This would be the last time she was seen. Despite extensive efforts by law enforcement and volunteers to locate her, Brittanee's whereabouts remained unknown. As days turned into weeks into months.
I went down 3 years after Brittanee went missing.
Brittanee's loved ones grappled with the agonizing uncertainty of not knowing what happened to her. The mystery surrounding her disappearance only deepened, leaving her family desperate for answers. The morning after Brittanee Drexel's disappearance, Myrtle Beach police sprang into action. They swiftly obtained security camera footage from the Blue Water Resort, where Brittanee had been staying, and located the friend she had visited during her stay. Among them was Peter Brozowitz, a 20-year-old nightclub promoter from the Rochester area who had crossed paths with Brittanee at a local nightclub the night before. Despite being identified as the last person to see Brittanee, Brozowitz denied any involvement, a sentiment echoed by the men sharing his hotel room. A search for Brittanee's hotel room uncovered all the clothes she had packed, but her purse and cell phone were conspicuously absent. Tracking the phone's network pings led investigators to an area 50 or 60 miles south of Myrtle Beach, along their U.S. Route 17, near the Georgetown-Charleston County line. The pings abruptly ceased early on April the 26th, deepening the mystery. Efforts to locate Brittanee intensified with searches conducted near the ping locations and around Myrtle Beach, but they yielded no substantial leads. In 2011, the search of an apartment in Georgetown County failed to yield any breakthroughs. Brittanee's mother, Dawn, was deeply involved in the investigation, relocating to Myrtle Beach to closely monitor progress. Despite her suspicions of human trafficking, which were fueled by Dawn's belief that Brittanee may have been lured by promises of a modeling job, Myrtle Beach police downplayed this possibility, citing little evidence of trafficking in their jurisdiction. Nevertheless, the case remained open, with Dawn's unwavering determination keeping the spotlight on Brittanee's disappearance. As the search for answers continued, the hope for closure and justice for Brittanee Drexel's family and loved ones remained undiminished. The investigation took an unexpected turn when police received information that Timothy Taylor was involved in Brittanee's disappearance. In 2016, the FBI dropped a bombshell, suggesting Brittanee Drexel was murdered shortly after she vanished. They suspected she was taken from Myrtle Beach to Georgetown, where her phone signal stopped. How did they know? Well, it all started with a shocking story from an inmate in prison. FBI agent Jarek Munoz testified that an inmate named Taquan Brown came forward with shocking details. Brown claimed that in 2009, shortly after Drexel vanished, he witnessed her being sexually assaulted by Timothy Taylor and others at McClellanville Stash House. Brown recounted how Drexel attempted to flee but was brutally assaulted and ultimately shot, with her body disposed of in an alligator-infested pond. He said he saw Brittanee being hurt and then heard gunshots. This got Timothy Taylor in hot water. He was already behind bars for something else, but the FBI thought he might know more about Brittanee's case. In response to these allegations, Taylor faced a federal indictment for interfering in interstate commerce by threat or violence, stemming from his role as a getaway driver in a 2011 robbery. Despite objections from Taylor's defense, federal prosecutors cited suspicions in the Drexel case as a factor in bringing the new charge. As part of a plea bargain negotiation in 2017, Taylor underwent a polygraph test, during which his responses raised concerns. Ultimately, he got a short sentence for another crime, 319 days after pleading guilty. But the mystery of what happened to Brittanee still looms large, waiting for answers. Over time, the investigation went in a completely different direction, which led authorities to suspect the possible involvement of Peter Brauchwitz. After Brittanee disappeared, some suspicion fell on Peter. Why? Well, he was the last person to see her before she vanished. It didn't help that his parents told him to leave the hotel just hours after Brittanee went missing. Naturally, people found this suspicious. Peter even appeared on TV with Dr. Phil, alongside his lawyer, to answer some tough questions. But his demeanor didn't sit well with many. Some thought he seemed uncaring and arrogant, especially when he made remarks about not babysitting Brittanee. But here's the twist. Raymond Moody, another person, allegedly confessed to being involved in Brittanee's disappearance. This cleared Peter Brauchwitz of any involvement. It goes to show how sometimes someone's demeanor can make them look guilty, even when they're innocent. Now imagine being in Peter's shoes. He was just 20 when Brittanee disappeared. Sure, he might have seemed self-centered, but that's not uncommon for someone his age. Plus, if people already thought he was guilty, getting involved in the search wouldn't have helped him. It's a lose-lose situation. If he stayed away, people accused him of not caring. If he got involved, they thought he was trying to cover his tracks. Poor Peter couldn't catch a break.
You buried her, was she in one piece? Was she pieces?
No, she was a folding cat.
Okay.
In a dramatic turn of events, Raymond Moody, a 62-year-old registered sex offender, surrendered himself to Georgetown County Sheriff's Office in early May of 2022, initially only facing an obstruction of justice charge. However, Moody's past came under scrutiny as authorities had considered him a person of interest in Brittanee's disappearance as far back as 2012. But what followed stunned investigators and the public alike. Moody confessed to the crime, providing crucial information about the whereabouts of potential remains. The FBI wasted no time excavating a site over the next 3 days. On May the 11th, the somber discovery was made. Human remains buried in the woods outside Georgetown, just 4 feet beneath the ground. Through meticulous DNA and dental analysis, the remains were confirmed to be Brittanee Drexel's, finally bringing closure to a haunting mystery. The details of the arrest warrant painted a chilling picture. It alleged that Brittanee had been kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and strangled. Moody then buried her in an attempt to cover up his crimes. On May the 16th, 2022, alongside Brittanee's grieving family, the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office made this information public, along with the announcement of Moody's arrest. Facing grave charges of murder, kidnapping, and first-degree criminal sexual misconduct, all tied to the day of Brittanee's disappearance, Moody stood before the court. In a swift and decisive move, he pleaded guilty to all charges on October the 19th, sealing his fate. The sentence, life in prison, with 2 additional consecutive terms of 30 years, a measure of justice for a life tragically cut short. During Moody's court appearance, Moody, who had previously served 20 years in prison for the 1983 abduction and rape of a 9-year-old California girl, spoke briefly and said, "I served 20 years and I thought it was enough. But it wasn't. I was a monster then, and I was a monster when I took Brittanee Drexel's life." The aftermath of Brittanee Drexel's tragic disappearance serves as a sobering reminder of how various factors can converge, leading to unthinkable crimes. Brittanee's trip to South Carolina was far from enjoyable, marked by underlying tensions with her companions. Frustration likely brewed as she walked alone back to her hotel with no one offering her a ride, a simple act that might have averted the tragedy. When a stranger in a car extended an offer of assistance, Brittanee may have seen it as a solution to her predicament, yet her rebellious and impulsive nature seemingly blinded her to the risks. Tragically, a predator lay in wait, ready to exploit such vulnerability. From the perpetrator's perspective, this was an opportunity too tempting to resist. A teenager willingly entering his vehicle, unnoticed by anyone. It was a perfect storm of circumstances, leading to an unthinkable outcome. In reflecting on Brittanee Drexel's case, one can't help but wonder, could this crime have been prevented? Perhaps if someone had offered Brittanee a ride back to her hotel, or if she had been more cautious about accepting help from strangers. Yet, hindsight is always clearer than foresight. As we contemplate these questions, let's not forget the importance of vigilance and community awareness. By staying informed and looking out for one another, we can strive to create safer environments for ourselves and those around us. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your opinions and insights in the comments below. Your contributions can spark meaningful dialogue and help raise awareness about the complexities of crime prevention.